No, we're actually around 37 minutes. So we're gonna get to my top 10 movies of 2019. I know I'm taking a break of the top 100. It's gonna be back next episode, but for now, I really wanted to do this because there's a lot of films that I wanted to talk about. So I kind of put this into a couple categories. There's films that I haven't seen in 2019 that I just missed, and I thought maybe could have cheated themselves in, but I don't know. There's only a couple that I think really could have if I've saw them, and then there's films that I did see in 2019 that were just kind of fringe. They almost make it, but not quite make it, and then I'm gonna go over my top 10. So for the films that I didn't see, that I'm just gonna quickly run them down: Jojo Rabbit, Rocket Man, Honey Boy, Richard Jewell, Ad Astra, Ready or Not, Dark Waters, The Peanut Butter Falcon, Shazam, the Lego Movie 2, Art of Self-Defense, and Portrait of a Lady on Fire. So I think there's only a couple films that could have possibly made it, and that's like your Jojo Rabbit, since it was nominated for Best Picture, I believe. Honey Boy, which I was really excited to see because I'm a huge fan of Shia LaBeouf. Dark Waters, that I heard incredibly good things about. Peanut Butter Falcon, again, Shia LaBeouf type of film that I'm kind of into. And Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was a really interesting film that could have definitely cheated its way in here because I kind of liked those more obscure kind of art house type of films, and I will eventually see them, but it's just, I'm not gonna spend $6 a pop renting all these films and watching all of them. I don't have the time or the capability of doing that. I don't really want to spend that money. But so the films that I did see in 2019 that didn't make the cut, so we'll run them down, kind of talk about them a little bit. El Camino is one, a great film. But I don't really think it's not amazing standing on its own. It just gives a really good closure to Jesse's story at the end. You have to watch Breaking Bad. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, what the fuck are you doing? Watch Breaking Bad. But this gives a really good supplement to it, especially if you're like, oh man, I really want more Breaking Bad. Watch El Camino. It's a really good watch. It's really well made. Aaron Paul does a fantastic job reprising his role as Jesse. It's really good. There's some really intense moments. It's just a really good film, but it's not really top 10 quality. There's 10 films that I thought were a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable this year, last year. Dr. Sleep, I'm kind of disappointed this didn't really make the list, but the middle of the film definitely kind of drags a little bit, even though the beginning and the end are very strong. It is very long. It's a very long film, and it does rely on the whole being the Shining sequel. It definitely relies on that a little bit. So I think there's one horror movie on my top 10 list that is definitely there. Marriage Story, the Netflix original that's nominated for Best Picture. Both leading actors are nominated for Oscars. It's an incredible film, and probably some of the best performances of the year. But again, it's not a film that I'm going to rewatch, so it didn't really put it in my top 10. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's ninth film. Great performances, fun story. I really enjoyed it, being a really huge film nerd. So I thought it's definitely a film for that, but it's far from his best film. I think it's not. I mean, I'm not going to rewatch this one as much as Django, Kill Bill, fucking Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Basterds, some of his greatest films. Midsommar, another really great horror film, but again, Hereditary is a far, I think, superior film, and definitely hit me a lot more emotionally disturbed me a lot more than Midsommar did. But definitely, if you're a horror fan, watch Midsommar. You might really like it. Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, really great film, but again, the visual effects with the de-aging, it's very noticeable. Plus, it's 3 hours and some minutes long. It's way too long. Not gonna rewatch it. I'm just not. But it's a very good watch. I recommend watching it. John Wick 3, Fun. I love Keanu Reeves. I thought John Wick 3 was great, but in my opinion, I think it's the least. It's not as good as the first and second one. Definitely not as good as the first one. The first one's the best. The first one is definitely top 10 film material, but I think John Wick 3, have it being one of the still really great action, awesome film, but it is what it is. Jordan Peele's Us, another horror film, but I don't know. I still, it's a good film, but it didn't really have that, I don't know, it factor that I really wanted it to be. I mean, Get Out is amazing. Get Out is a phenomenal film. And I think Us is really cool. It's a really cool film, and it has a lot of really scary moments, and I think an incredible performance by the main actress. But I don't know. It didn't really do as much for me as I really wanted it to. I think it's one of those films that I had really high expectations, and it didn't really meet them for me. A lot of people love this one, but I'm not really quite one of them. On the Netflix original, The King, really cool period piece, historical film. Apparently, it's very accurate. Incredible performance by what's his face, Timothy Chalamet. Really gives you an insight. Okay, I see the Paul Atreides in you. He's going to be Paul Atreides in the new Dune film, Denis Villeneuve's Dune film that's hopefully going to come out at the end of this year. I fucking hope it is. I mean, with the coronavirus delaying all these productions and all these video games and everything pretty much, I'm so excited for the Denis Villeneuve's Dune film. Spoiler alert, once that trailer comes out for Dune, I'm doing an entire episode strictly on Dune. It might be why I'm going to review the book, I'm going to review David Lynch's film, I'm going to review a documentary, and I'll review the trailer for it. So expect that when the trailer drops. Hopefully, I don't know when that's going to be though. But The King, again, it's a historical drama, not really my genre. Plus, I don't know, it's fun, it's cool. The ending action scene, jeez, I can't speak, is really well done. It's great, but I don't know. It's not top 10 material. I'm probably not going to rewatch it, so it's not in there. And then finally, How to Train Your Dragon 3. Fun movie. But again, the first one and the second one are far superior to this one, even though this is really good. But I think there's another animated film that came out in 2019 that I saw recently that is a lot better, and I don't think How to Train Your Dragon 3. There's 10 better movies in this one. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 10 movies of 2019. That's right. Very weird. I'm sorry. Let me take a drink of my water here. Shit, we're at 45 minutes. This might be a little bit long. We'll see. We'll see where we end here. So, number 10, we have Knives Out. Rian Johnson's Knives Out. I'm talking, let's just say, this is one of those films that exceeded my expectations. It's rare, but it exceeded. I didn't really have any expectations going into this one. I mean, I still love Rian Johnson as a director, especially with Looper and Brick. I get it. I know The Last Jedi happened, and that was primarily his fault. But, people make mistakes. It happens, I'm sure making a Star Wars film within a year, writing it and directing it and producing it within 2 years is probably no small feat. I mean, whether how good it is or not. And there are some really good moments of The Last Jedi, but whatever. Knives Out is awesome all the way through. It's a great murder mystery. It's your good old, homage to your classic Clue board game and the film. Amazing acting performances, great story, twists and turns, your classic murder mystery throwback. It's awesome. It's a really fun time, and it's just one of those. It's an incredibly fun time at the movies. I do review it on my podcast. I'm pretty sure it's one of those episodes that I just record. It's not on YouTube, but it's on audio podcast. So check out that episode. So, number 9 is a recent film that I just reviewed last episode, Uncut Gems. A lot of people have this one a lot higher, but I just don't think it has the rewatchability as a lot of other films on this list. But, I mean, it's still amazing. It has one of the best performances of the year. Very big, huge Oscar snub. But yeah, incredibly well made. Safdie brothers really bring it again. So intense film. You're pretty much on cocaine and psychedelic drugs throughout the entire thing. you're very paranoid, and I think the film captures, and that's the purpose of the film. The film does that on purpose for you. So yeah, very intense film, amazing performance, really, really good film. Number 8, this is going to be a hot take for me, but this is just kind of my personal opinion. Number 8 goes to M. Night Shyamalan's Glass. I do my very, very first Why I Love episode on the Unbreakable trilogy, and I talk Glass, so please check that out. I'm pretty proud of that video, even though it's not like my full potential of my podcast, but I still think it's a really good video, and I have a really good thoughts on Glass. And I argue that Glass is a really good film. Yes, there's some opportunities that are missed, and I don't think Shyamalan gets that, but I think it's still a really special film, and it's still, as an Unbreakable fan, I will acknowledge I am biased. That's why it's on here. But I mean, I had to put it on here because I still love Glass, and I'll rewatch Glass more than Uncut Gems and Knives Out. I just will. So that's why it's number 8. Again, this is my personal list. This is not objective fact that these are the top 10 best films of 2019. This is my opinion. Everything on this podcast is going to be my opinion. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Give me your top 10 in the comments. Give me your top 10 or your top favorite films that I forget. So, number 7, film that I just reviewed, Ford v Ferrari. Incredible. I will be rewatching this one once it drops down in price on Blu-ray. I will be buying it. It's an incredible film. A really good let-in on just, following your passion and not letting things get in the way of it. It's a great film. Plus the racing scenes are really intense, incredibly well made. It's a fantastic film. Number 6, the animated film. It actually won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and deservingly so. Toy Story 4. This one definitely exceeded my expectations. I did not expect Toy Story 4, especially a film in the fourth installment to a series, being to emotionally resonate so much with me. I was so surprised. This one blew me away. If you have doubts with, Toy Story 4, it's like, oh, well, I think their trilogy is very perfect. Toy Story 4 is an incredible addition to the series, and I think is absolutely necessary to watch. So, and it's phenomenal. It's a really good movie, and it's incredible. It really surprised me. That's why it's pretty high on the list. So, yeah. Moving on. Number 5 goes to Avengers Endgame. Yes, this is a comic book movie, and I've been slowly kind of being comic movied out. But this is how many years in the making here with this film? Especially, this film came out around the same time Game of Thrones finished. And Game of Thrones failed so bad with the ending, in my opinion. I think the ending, especially season 8 as a whole for Game of Thrones, was so poor. And when this movie came out, it made Game of Thrones look that much worse, because Marvel does it with the closure and the ending to a giant story. Avengers Endgame, if you really think about, conceptually about how you make a film like this, it's almost impossible, especially since they were trying to do it years ago. This was their main goal, was to do this. And man, did they hit so hard. They hit on every single thing. I mean, what's your criticism of Endgame? Okay, the whole use of time travel. It's a comic book movie. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to argue the concept of time travel in a hard sci-fi film, because that's kind of you kind of need to be a little bit more realistic and have, your concepts in place and the logic behind it, because it's a hard sci-fi. This is not a hard sci-fi. It's a comic book film, so you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But I mean, just the action scenes, unbelievable. The characters, amazing, so much fun. Risky film. The payoffs are incredible. Thanos is still amazing, still the best villain in the Marvel universe. It's an incredible film, and I can't say anything more that's positive that has already been said. So yeah, number 5, Avengers Endgame. Now number 4, I reviewed at sort of the beginning when I first started this back in December. I think in December, January, 1917. An incredible war film, World War One, in fact, which is I haven't really seen any mainstream war films be set in World War One, and wow, Sam Mendes, the shots, the cinematography in this one, cinematographer Roger Deakins, probably the best in the game. The shots in this one are mind blowing. I mean, the film is, I think it's taken in like a couple of takes, like a couple of shots, like 4, and it's strung together to act like it's shot in one shot, one very long take. And it takes place in one day, pretty much. Like 24? I don't know how long it's supposed to take, but it's an incredible experience. It's very intense. It's a war film, and it's one of the best out there. And yeah, Sam Mendes, it was incredible as helming this one. So yeah, 1917. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. So top 3 now. Number 3 is gonna go to Joker. Joker. Again, another film that just kind of really exceeds expectations. They could have went safe with this one. They could have made it PG-13. They could have had a more comic book feel to it, but no. The director really stayed true to his guns. They made it rated R. They made it really dark, almost very disturbing film. I'm blanking on the director of this one. Sorry, it's just what's his name? I need Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips, the director, stuck with his guns. Brought in Joaquin Phoenix. I don't think anyone could have played Joker as well as Joaquin did. Won Oscar for Best Actor, deservingly so. The small touches to the character, like having that whole disorder being that he just laughs uncontrollably. And, the more upset he gets, the more that he laughs. And I think that was a mind-blowing concept that they added into the character, and they still stuck true with the character of the Joker, how he's an unreliable narrator. I thought that was really cool. That was perfect. Everything that I thought they could have done wrong, they didn't do, and everything that they did right, they did really right. And I think Joker is an incredible film. Very topical as well, especially with, the situation we're dealing with media and how media can really overblow things and kind of politicize it and also pervert it as well, especially with mass shootings and the whole thing dealing with that. I thought was a really great take, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. And I think, there's something to be said about the media's contribution to that whole issue, and I think this film really brings it out. And it doesn't really make sense too much to me how much controversy this film had when it came out. But it's understandable, I guess. But I think it's stupid, especially if you're one of those people who said this is an irresponsible film. I think you're an idiot. If you say that your opinion means nothing. You're just stupid. This film is actually incredibly important film to watch, and it brings forward a lot of issues that we have with our own society and how these things kind of get, heavily politicized and romanticized, if you will. And I think this film really hits that on its head. So really great film. I was blown away by this one. So now number 2, that actually surprisingly won Best Picture of the year, Parasite, a foreign film, Korean, directed by Bong Joon-ho. If you're unfamiliar with him, he directed Snowpiercer, The Host, that Netflix original Okja. Parasite, objectively his best film. It's incredible. It's a really great look on the class system, especially I guess in Korea. It's a great political look. It's funny when it's funny, and it's scary when it's scary. And not a lot of films do that incredibly well, and this one does. I don't this film was not the best of the year, but I agree with it winning Best Picture, and I'm glad the Academy recognized it. And it does a lot for foreign films, because there's a lot of really great foreign cinema out there that a lot of people don't know about. And I think Parasite kind of got very popularized because of the Oscar, because of the award, its award-winning nature. So I think it definitely did a lot for foreign films, and I think it's deserving because the film is great and the writing is amazing. Again, you read subtitles, but like you can just tell the writing is phenomenal, and the directing, wow, like mind-blowing how good it is. So that brings us to my favorite film of the year. Now, this one's a horror film, and it's actually an A24 film, and it's The Lighthouse. Yes, that's right, it's The Lighthouse. Now I'm looking for the director of The Lighthouse. Hold on real quick. The Lighthouse. Come on, load. Seriously? Okay. Roger Eggers, or Egers, or I forget how, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. A great film that is set in one location. So weird, so unique. I've never seen anything like it, but yeah, it's amazing. And it's not just, again, like Parasite, it's not just scary and creepy and disturbing. It's also hilarious. It's one of the funniest films I've seen this year, and it's the scariest and the most disturbing film of the year. You know, if you were looking for mermaid sex, it's definitely here. So it's a weird one. It's a really weird movie, but it is so good. And Robert Pattinson gives his best performance. Willem Dafoe gives an amazing performance as well. I mean, if you're looking for a film that has fart jokes, this is the movie for you. It's incredible. I couldn't say better things about it. I review this one on my podcast. It's one of those episodes that's not on YouTube. It's just on audio platforms. So I appreciate you guys checking that one out if you have. But yeah, The Lighthouse, it's my favorite film of the year. And I think it's a lot of people's favorite films of the year. Deservingly so. It's an incredible film. It's very unique. It's black and white. It's filmed in 4:3 frame. It's as the best performances of the year. I think it got snubbed. It should have been nominated for the Best Picture. But, I mean, since it's an A24 horror film, obviously Academy doesn't nominate it. I don't know why the Academy hates horror films. I don't know. They should just develop its own category. But whatever. It's a conversation for another episode. But that's my top one. That's my top 10. So let's run down real quick. Number 10, Knives Out. Number 9, Uncut Gems. Number 8, Glass. Number 7, Ford v Ferrari. Number 6, Toy Story 4. Number 5, Avengers Endgame. Number 4, 1917. Number 3, Joker. Number 2, Parasite. And number 1, The Lighthouse. Those are my top 10 favorite films of 2019. And that's the episode, guys.